Google Ads is the sprint and SEO is the marathon. SEO is the long haul preparation, pays off over time. Google Ads is turn it on, get some action, turn it off, and it's done. So very, very different objectives, but definitely can work to aid each other. Stop and don't spend another single cent on advertising until you listen to this. I'm Marianne Amies. This is Ready, Set, Paid Ads, digital marketing for paid ad success. Let's go. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. I'm coming to you today with a little bit of a Q&A, I guess. I have been working in paid ads for about 13 or 14 years now, and I actually remember the dawn of Facebook ads for small business and the kind of testing and learning that we did right at the beginning and how exciting it was to be faced with this way to reach exactly who we wanted and also to be able to see the actions that they took. So I've always found ads to be a really fascinating and lucrative area to play in for business. And I've seen firsthand the huge impact it can have on businesses' success. So today I thought what I would do is go through a whole bunch of questions I've been asked about ads. And these are questions from clients, from people I meet at events, and I guess a real indication of the kind of questions you don't want to ask, but want the answer to as well. So I'm going to kick off with one of the questions I get all the time, which is, what is the difference between Google ads and Facebook ads or Meta ads? This is a great one, and I love to explain the difference between social ads and Google ads around intent. So when we run social media ads, we are proposing a product or a service to somebody who has an affinity to that product or service, but is perhaps not at the part of their journey where they're looking for it yet. Now, you hear about the funnel, and the funnel is about the biggest, broadest awareness right down to the most engaged and ready to convert with us. And social media ads can help with that full funnel. So at the top of the funnel, we can put things in front of people that they didn't know existed. They didn't know they even wanted. And I'm sure if you're like me, you've received ads in your social media where you're like, I did not know this existed, but now I absolutely cannot live without it. And that's a real top of funnel experience. We can also use middle of funnel to get people to taste test our product or our service. And then obviously bottom of funnel is where we can get conversion out of them. So once we're doing bottom of funnel ads with social media ads, that is where we know the buyer has a little bit more higher intent. But usually when we think high intent, we think Google. So social ads is about proposing something to someone based on actions we know about them. Google ads is about answering the question. So undoubtedly, a Google search has much more intent behind it than browsing social media. We're not often browsing social media while we're actively trying to buy a product. If we're actively trying to research or buy a product, we are on Google, we are Googling. And that is the big difference we see. So I was talking to an e-commerce brand yesterday that's launching, and I was saying to them, I think you need both. I think on social media, we can really hit up the ideal client, women and mothers, and we can find them based on the activities they're doing on social media, and we can expose them to your new business. But on Google, if we can run Google ads, we can respond to people searching for modest teen clothing, for inclusive size teen clothing, for teen clothing, teen girl clothing, tasteful teen girl clothing. All the searches that these people are going to be doing, we can answer that question, those high intent people, and be there on the shopping list. Whereas with Facebook, we can start to expose people to this concept or this idea that they may not think exists yet, or they may not be actively searching for, but when they see it is going to resonate. So that is the big difference I see between Google ads and social ads. I see it around intent. The next question we get is, how do I set the budget, or how much should I spend? And that question it is really the piece of string kind of question. Social ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads, I would say you need different kind of starting budgets on all of them, Google being the biggest requirement for budget. I think with a Google campaign, you definitely need to be up around the $20 to $50 per day to get good traction with the competition on Google and that high intent. This is a platform where we can expect to convert more. I would say there's a lot of factors that affect this as well, which I'll touch on in a second. But social ads, so your TikTok and more your Meta, again, you can probably get away with a $20 per day campaign. And then LinkedIn tends to be more expensive as well. So I'd be saying more like your $50 per day starter. And the reason why LinkedIn is more expensive again is it's a more niche and targeted platform. You've got a lot of big B2B decision makers on there. And so you have a lot of big business with big budgets targeting them. So less people with bigger budgets targeting them, that definitely pushes up the price to play. So in terms of each platform then, and if that's kind of the starter, how do you know where you fit? It's again layered on your objectives. So we work with our clients to go, is this somebody that wants to grow really quickly? Or is it somebody that just is wanting to build awareness over time? So I always go back to you've got time and you've got money. So if you have time to build and you want to just organically or semi-organically build over time, then you can spend less per day. If you don't have time, you need money. So if you want to double your sales within a month, well, then your spend needs to reflect that. So they're the other two factors I think about. And then obviously competitiveness. So thinking of Google, depending on your industry, depending on your competitive set, your ads manager or you are going to do that research on keywords and look at what the average cost per click is, and then build up backwards from the conversion number you're looking for back to your kind of benchmark click-through rate to come all the way back to how many clicks you need, and then computing that on average cost per click will give you that kind of indicator of what budget you might need per day. So if you had $50 a day and we know that it costs around $10 a click, that means your $50 is only going to buy you 5 clicks. You're going to need a pretty high conversion rate to turn one of those 5 clicks into a buyer or into an inquiry. So that's the kind of played out funnel or played out metrics that we're thinking about there. The next question we get is, what is a good click-through rate? As I just touched on, click-through rate will impact our kind of budgeting. It'll impact, obviously, the success of your campaign. So your click-through rate is the percent of people that see the ad and go on to click it. Remembering in most campaigns, we only pay for the click as well. So your click-through rate is how well your ad did, how much it motivated somebody, how well it answered their question, how enticing it was, how well written, how well presented, all those sorts of things. So the higher the click-through rate means the higher, I guess, the impulsivity was, or the higher it answered the question, the desirability, all those sorts of things. And again, it really depends. We tend to think of click-through rates of around 2.5 to 5% as quite good. And I know that that seems like a really low number, but we are all exposed to so many ads and so much content, especially on social media. So we do see those click-through rates quite low as our benchmark. And again, that's our job as ads managers to try push that up with our clients. But we don't, unless you have something very niche or a very motivated target market, we kind of don't see 20% click-through rate, 50% click-through rate, those sorts of things. It does tend to be lower because at the end of the day, we're an ad. We're not the thing that we're not their friend's birthday update or the fashion page that they follow and just like to look at. We're asking them to do something. So that needs to be pretty compelling. We get asked about tracking performance. How do I track performance on Google Ads? How will I know if my Google Ads are working? Again, this is I guess for ads managers and ads professionals, there's a lot of technical tracking that goes on behind the scenes. So if you're running Google Ads especially, you definitely then need to be running Google Analytics. You need your website to be tagged by something maybe like Google Tag Manager, or you need to have integrated your Shopify. There is so much ability from a Google ad to track, especially in e-commerce, add to cart, checkout, purchase, that sort of thing, on top of clicks. And then if you're doing a more of a service-based campaign, you want to be able to track things like click to inquiry or click to download, click to phone. So tracking all that it's kind of like an ads and web development relationship, making sure that you've got those people on board that can help you set up the technical side to see what's happening. And then if you're working with somebody, you should be getting very regular reports. You should be reading those reports. And if you do not understand them, you should 100% be asking the person running your ads to explain them. I think that we speak to so many clients who either receive reports that they don't understand or don't receive reports at all. And if you're spending money on ad campaigns and somebody is managing that for you, it's absolutely their responsibility to ensure you understand what's going on. And that's a 360-degree feedback loop. We lost an ads client the other day that we've had for some time. We send him reports every month and we ask him to feedback how things are going. And we rarely hear back from him. And a few months ago, he expressed some disappointment with how some ads were going. And we explained what was in the reports and what we were seeing in terms of conversions. We made changes to the account. And again, we asked him to keep us updated. Tell us what's happening. Tell us what's happening on your end, because we're tracking all these conversions. So we need to know if on your end, they're good. They're actually converting once you get them on the phone. And a couple of months passed. And again, we could not get that feedback out of him. And then he's come back and said he's not happy. He's not happy with the result and he's going. And situations like that are disappointing. It's disappointing when someone doesn't understand their success or doesn't understand the data and is not engaging with it. So when it comes to tracking your performance, if somebody is managing your ads, absolutely engage and make it a priority to look at the results they're telling you every month. Look at what you can see on your end. And if there's a discrepancy, have that conversation, because most good ads managers want to get you that result. And we can only do that when we work together. What will I pay for a cost per click in Google Ads? So again, as I talked about before, in terms of setting budgets, we have this cost per click. So that means if we're thinking of Google Ads, you target a bunch of words in a search campaign and you pay for every time somebody clicks on one of those ads. And that changes every time somebody clicks on one of those ads. So for example, almond croissant near me, that might cost $1.50 this morning for that click. But in the afternoon, it might only cost 60 cents because there's not anyone else bidding on it that afternoon. It might change if a new competitor enters the market and goes really hard after that keyword. It might change if it trends on social media for some reason and demand increases. So even just one word's cost per click will be different throughout the day, throughout the month. And then all the words in your account are going to be very different. And they are very much in the back end as what we call the silent auction. So what we are told happens is, a search term is entered and the algorithm looks at the ads and looks at which business was prepared to pay the most on a cost per click. And then that they win that click. So it's kind of like a silent bidding system for whoever's willing to pay the most. So a cost per click will vary. Again, we will see a cost per click vary anywhere from, 30, 40 cents in some industries on a long keyword that's non-competitive to $60, $70 cost per click in really high value industries with high competition. So it is quite huge, and that does come into that planning and budgeting process as well. What are the best platforms for running paid ads for my business? Again, when people come for the first time, we get that question, like, where should I be running ads? And it all comes down, in my mind, to the strategy. So in our business, we don't run ads without a strategy first that we build. And I know that can sometimes seem frustrating, that the business doesn't want to just get in there and run ads, but the strategy is our time to learn everything about your business, look at what you've been doing prior and the work and success you've had, and really map out that strategy, that plan of where your ads are going to work best. So a service-based business might be best on LinkedIn. It might not be good on social media at all. It might be better on LinkedIn and Google. And e-com might be better on Google Shopping and Meta and TikTok, or depending on the age group that those products are targeting is going to depend on which social media platforms you might put it on. A lead gen campaign for B2B might be best on LinkedIn and Meta and not on Google. So the best platforms for your ads is going to depend so much on who you are targeting, what the outcome you want is, and even to some degree, the budget that you have to work for. Then I have, why do I have to pay? I love this question. I mean, in the 20 years that I've been involved in digital marketing now, I've seen the shift from not having to pay to having to pay a little bit, or to competing by paying, to now sort of having to pay to play, having to pay to be part of it at all. And I understand why for some business owners it feels unfair, or it feels opportunistic that all the platforms now make us pay, or there is the pay to play mentality. But at the end of the day, those platforms are businesses too. And we benefited from platforms like Facebook for years without having to pay for ads, and were able to build brands and gain traction in ways that were unseen of in traditional marketing. I had a 15-year traditional marketing career before I sort of moved into digital, and TV ads, magazine ads, radio ads, that's what we had to work with, newspaper. And it was super expensive, super untrackable, and unattainable to small business. So having to pay gives you control. It gives you certainty. And from what I've seen, it is the most cost-effective marketing channel for small business of the last 2 to 3 decades, 100%. So paying is about standing out from the crowd. It's about being sure of getting in front of the people you want. When we just do organic strategies, we just have less control over who sees our content, if they see it, and if we're going to get the outcome that we want. Should I like and share my own ads to get more traction? Another great question that I get, and my answer is absolutely not. Nothing worries me more than when a client shares their ad to their personal page and then their friends and family start clicking on it, because all you are doing is paying for all those clicks. So please don't like your own ads. Don't share your own ads. All you're doing is racking up a bill there. If you love your ad, just post it organically, or create a story that's similar with a link that people can go on and use. Don't engage with your own ads. It does you absolutely no favors. Will Google Ads improve my SEO? Another great one. Contentious, debated. Will Google Ads improve your SEO? Yes and no. There are theories that when you stop running Google Ads, that Google then drops your SEO rankings down. I'm not convinced. What I do know is domain authority and how valuable a website is and what Google thinks of it is linked to traffic. So, a domain that never gets visited is not going to rank very well. So while you're running ads, you are driving traffic through your domain. If people are staying, if they're engaging, if they're converting, they're all positive signs that I believe will positively impact your SEO or positively impact your rankings. I don't believe when you turn your ads off that will stop immediately, but if you turn your ads off and your organic isn't amazing, or there aren't other ways that traffic is still being pushed to your website, I do think you might lose positions, but it's not really part of your SEO strategy. If you came to me with an SEO problem or wanting to really focus on SEO, I wouldn't suggest Google Ads as part of that strategy. But separately, we would say, well, if you run Google Ads, you've got some guaranteed airtime while we build the foundations of the house. I was just talking to a client yesterday about Google Ads is the sprint and SEO is the marathon. SEO is the long haul preparation, pays off over time. Google Ads is turn it on, get some action, turn it off, and it's done. So very different objectives, but definitely can work to aid each other. Should I limit my ads to just my suburb? A great question we always get from very small businesses, local businesses. That's a hard one. And I'll tell you why. If you limit your ads to a really small radius, and I'm thinking more about Meta, it's actually quite hard with Google to go too small on the radius. But if you limit like that, you will find that your costs go up because when there are fewer people that the platforms can target and it can't spread your demand across bigger factors, who you compete with becomes quite tight and placing you is harder. So you find that your costs will go up. Sometimes you're better to go a little bit broader than the area that you can service and have some wastage, have some clicks you can't service just to bring your costs down. And it's something you can test. You can test a really tight radius for a month, track your cost per click, your click-through rates, all those sorts of things, and then do the same with a bigger radius. As long as you're tracking your end game effective. So say, for example, you're a chiropractor and you run that for 1 month quite tight and you look at how many people called or inquired and how many converted or even clicks, calls and inquiries, conversion. And then you do a bigger radius and do the same. Did you get a lot more clicks? Did you end up with the same number of conversions, less conversions, more conversions? You need to track the kind of offline activity that your ads manager might not know and be able to go, okay, scenario A, in the end, we got 10 new patients for that $500. Scenario B, we got 13 for that $500 or whatever it might be, and then work out which way you want to go going forward. If I'm running social media ad campaigns, why do I need social media posts? Social media, as we know and as it's developed, is so fickle. And if you're anything like me, and I know I'm in the game, but if I go to a social media profile and there's absolutely no posts, or the last post was in like 2022, if I've got there organically, I think the business is shut down. And if I got there from an ad, I think it just is a bit weird. I think, oh, is this real? Trust, credibility. Everything we do in ads needs to smoothly take people on a journey where trust and credibility is never questioned. If you're asking me to put my credit card details in, if you're asking me to book you and give up my time, if you're asking me to consider you to come out and do a service for me, I need to never doubt your credibility. So all the trust factors need to be really sharp. And so if I see a great ad and then I go over to the social media and it's a ghost town or it looks terrible or it's just incongruent, it doesn't feel in alignment to the ad I just saw, I'm going to have some trust markers go up, some flags are going to flag. I'm going to question if it's for me. And on the reverse of that, when you are paying someone or you are focusing on your social media content and you're investing time and your social media content is really meaningful and strategic, what a great opportunity to run ads and get it in front of more people. Because as we know, organic reach is so hard and so unpredictable. And all that effort you put into it, it deserves that little boost to be seen. So we believe that social media content makes paid social ads better. And we believe that paid social ads makes social media content get out there and be seen and be more successful as well. What is a landing page? I think every good ads manager at some point will have a conversation, mainly in B2B, about landing pages. And when we say we think that this ad would run better to a landing page or we'd love to test a landing page and see what we get, the question is, what's a landing page? So think of a landing page as the page with as little friction and noise as possible. We want to bring our paid user, our paid potential client, to a page where they are not going to get distracted. They are not going to go down a rabbit hole. They are not going to get frustrated trying to convert. So we're removing all the friction possible. I mean, the most perfect landing page doesn't have a menu at the top because we don't want them to go anywhere else. It Does the whole process of trust, credibility, get to know you, tell me what you do, match the ad perfectly? A great landing page should feel like the ad we just came off. It should give me the opportunity to convert as soon as I land on the page in case I'm ready. And then it should take me through a journey of maybe it's all about that one service, then maybe it's a bit of a portfolio, testimonials, if there's guarantees or warranties or anything like that. And at every kind of content break, it should ask me to convert again, because I might be ready after the block of testimonials, or I might be ready after the block that had your story. Don't make me scroll up or scroll down. Just make it easy for me to convert. So a landing page is really about a single outcome. We just want them to, whether it's inquire or book or buy, we don't want them to leave that page for any reason until that's done. And usually when we put a landing page in place, especially, as I said, for B2B and services, so like our builder clients, even allied health services, we will see conversion go up because we're making it super simple for the person to go from ad to outcome. And we're giving them everything they need to know without them having to click around a million places, get confused, get lost, and go away. Why do you charge on top of the ad costs? Again, there's a lot when we send out proposals. So, the client will see our fee per month, and then they will ask me if that includes the ads or why they have to pay us on top of the ads. If you are using a professional, an agency, a freelancer, they are putting time into your ads, and a good professional is going to be in your ad account every week. Depending on the complexity, they might be in there every day. So why you pay or why there is a charge is because the magic of ads happens in the optimization. And that's whether it's social ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads. And optimization is simply the process we go through of reviewing the data, making changes, and testing again. Everything in ads is test, measure, learn, adapt. That process is on repeat again and again. And the best ads managers are people that are curious. They're problem solvers. They're those people that kind of can't let it go until they get it right. And there are so many variables in ads. There are so many levers to pull, things to test, things to try, strategies, approaches, that optimization is rarely ever done. And again, a good ads manager always wants to beat the best result that they had. So the time that they're putting in is likely 1 to 2 hours per week, if not more. And again, depending on the complexity of your business and your campaigns and the platform, that optimization never goes away. And finally, the other question we get so much is how long before I see a return? And again, another really important question. We all want our ads to be profitable. And again, the truth is it takes time. As I touched on before, the magic is in the optimization, and that optimization takes time. Anybody that wants to guarantee you results and wants to guarantee you results in the first month, to me, is a huge red flag. There is no magic formula that we can roll out. Even people that sort of run the same, they kind of run the same formulas for a niche. Say they're all about car detailer ads and they run that formula again and again. Unless they're controlling every single variable, so that they're controlling your content, your budget, your placement, they know that suburb or they've run ads to that suburb, they really cannot guarantee those outcomes. And how long before you see a return is really different with all those factors. And I believe you need at least 3 months, which is enough time to test, measure, learn, adapt, and really optimize in different ways to start seeing the best return possible. I think within 6 weeks, you should be able to see promising signs, but to really see a return and to really see efficiency, I think you really need to have kind of 3 months of ad spend and management budget where not that you're prepared to, net, but where you can go that I can invest that and see where this goes. Because If you're needing money right now and you need those ads to return $1 for $3 from day one, it's very unlikely that it's going to happen. And I believe that anyone who has that expectation or is in that desperate place, that ads is probably not the right step to take if you're down to your last $100 to spend and you think, if I put this in ads, will it project me forward? Ads takes time and they should only get better with time. If you see your ads stagnating, if you see your return dropping, they're just signs that things need to be shaken up and changed up. You should always be looking, as I said before, to beat your last result and to better it. And that's what you do over time as well. So I hope this has been helpful. These are, as I said, questions that we get asked by our clients all the time. And there's no question that you shouldn't ask. If you're working with somebody, if you're thinking about working with someone, ask all the questions and continue to ask, because ads is such a mysterious area. And some businesses play on that. Some people play on that, keeping you in the dark intentionally. And others are just waiting for you to ask and start a conversation. If you are running ads and you are not sure if they're driving the results that they should, please reach out through my agency, Wise Up Marketing. We do audits and strategy, and I would love to work with any of you. If you have a burning question that I didn't cover today, please DM me. And again, I'd love to answer that for you. But thank you for your time today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. That's a wrap on another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. If you're looking for done-for-you services, training to upskill you in ads management, or free and paid resources to help you plan and execute better ads, head to wiseupmarketing.com.au. If you've loved this episode, be sure to subscribe for future episodes. And if you know someone that would love this podcast too, go on and share it.